Hi chess fans, in this video we will look at a ending where white has an extra pawn, but this pawn has not yet crossed the center of the board. And white's rook is cutting off the black king and is cutting off the black king by one file. So as we know, the black king, if he could, would like to walk in front of the pawn so that as the pawn advances, the black rook can first move to the sixth rank and then drop back to give checks from behind, reaching the Philidor drawing position. And white is trying to stop that by cutting off the king by one file. In this position, black has generally an easier job to draw because the pawn is not so advanced yet, and that gives black the opportunity to reach a drawing position and bring the rook and the king into good positions. To win this ending, we have to understand that the king has its optimal position here, where it is as close as possible to the pawn, and it can move both down to support the rook, and it can move up, supporting an attack on the rook and the pawn. The rook, on the other hand, has to stay on the back rank for the defense to be successful in these types of positions. And we will look at all of this in more details now. So, the most clear and easy defense is rook to c8. The rook stays on the back rank and blocks the advance of the c-pawn. The c-pawn can now not move forward because it would be taken by the rook. White could continue here with king b4, preparing the advance of the pawn. But now black is able to give a check with rook b8 check. And the point is that between the king and the rook is 3 squares of distance, so that we can say that the rook has distant effectiveness. And what that means is that if the king now approaches the rook and the rook keeps on giving checks, here king a6 or king c6, the point is that if rook c8 check, now the king cannot advance anymore because the rook is also attacking the pawn behind the king. And if king a6, black can also drop back and attack the pawn. And here white could move the king back to protect the pawn, but white has the additional resource of protecting the pawn with the rook. And here it becomes clear why the king is optimally placed on e6, because at this moment the king can move forward to attack the rook, and if the rook now drops to the side, maintaining protection of the pawn, the black rook can cut off the king and achieve a draw by moving the king forward now. The rook has given up its blockade on the d file, and the king can now move forward into a drawing position. So the only other option that white can now make a move without losing the pawn would be, in this particular position, rook d5 check. But now the king simply drops forward and is blocking the advance of, is now threatening again to take the pawn, and is also blocking the advance of the pawn because the king still maintains communication with the rook and can take the rook. So, and if the king comes closer, we continue with our strategy of giving checks. So in general, the defensive method is to give frontal checks, and what we are looking at now is just the trick of rook d4 and what to do at this trick. So the king drops, and then we continue giving checks again. And important, if the king moves to the a-file, we continue giving checks on the pawn again. So if the king comes closer, we give checks again. And here the rook can go can drop in between the king and the attacking black rook. And now the rook simply drops to h8. Again, whenever the white rook leaves the d file, we are getting ready to bring the king in front of the pawn and drop the rook back to move into a Philidor type defensive position. And if white now tries to prevent this, for example with rook b7, the king cannot get closer, we simply move the king to d6, and if king b5, we give a check, rook h5, and attack the pawn with the rook again. And if now rook d7 check, takes, we have reached a theoretically drawn ending. Okay, again, after rook b7, we said that we are going to switch to a Philidor type defensive position. The similar thing holds true for the type when the pawn advances immediately. Obviously, the king now is not inhibited and moves in front of the pawn, and now we have reached the Philidor defensive position. If, on the other hand, in this position the rook drops back to d5, we are switching to the defensive resource of frontal checks again. The black rook will simply keep on checking the king. Okay, another trick in this position. So we said the defensive plan is to move the rook in front of the pawn, and if the king approaches, we keep on giving frontal checks. And in this position here, there is a mean trick, king a5, and we had this already in the position after king a6, and basically we touched upon this briefly earlier. Whenever the king moves to the even if the king moves to a6, giving a check here would be running into similar problems than we look at now. But king a5 is a nice trick because it looks like black should just give a check here and, following his defensive strategy. But frontal checks only work if there's distance effectiveness, and king a5 is a good trick because after winning, after rook a8, king b6 actually wins, because now the black rook has lost its distant effectiveness. If black now goes to attack the pawn simply advances, and if black gives a check, the king is able to move forward and attack the rook. So as soon as the king moves to the a file, both a5 and a6, it's important that the rook drops back and attacks the pawn. Okay, let's have a look at this position again and illustrate why, other than rook c8, any move basically draws in which the black rook stays on the back rank. And with this, we want to illustrate that in these positions, it's important that the black rook stays on the back rank. So, for example, just rook g8. In this position here, white does not have to play the king to b4 to support the push of the pawn, but instead the pawn can simply move forward directly. And in this position, as soon as the pawn has crossed the mid-line of the board, it becomes clear why it's important to have the king on e6, because now we play king e7 with the plan of exchanging rooks on the d file. So if now the king comes closer, rook d8 challenges the rook, who's at the moment blocking off the king, and of course if the rook moves away, the king can move in front of the pawn, allowing the Philidor defense. And if the rook exchanges here, black is able to reach a drawn position because he has reached, or he is preventing white from reaching the key promoting squares in front of the pawn. So just as a repetition, now if white moves here, the black king will win the pawn. If the king moves back, black is able to block the pawn, and if the pawn moves forward, the king simply drops back, and whenever the king comes to the side, blocks the king like this, and as we all know, this is a draw on pawn ending. Okay, so other rook moves, for example, even rook d8, also draw, because after c5 we again have the same technique and the same position. So the rook, as long as it stays on the back rank, is fine, because we have this resource with king e7 and then challenging the rook, who is at the moment blocking the king, to approach. And now we also would like to illustrate a very common mistake. So if you were playing this position here with black, imagine white pawn is not yet, well, is advancing, and we want to stop it. And we know we have to bring the king in front of the pawn to reach the Philidor type defense position. And in this situation, a plan that would come to mind is to play king e7 immediately to bring the rook over and challenge the blockade of this rook. But this is actually losing, and the way that white will be able to exploit this is by bringing the king forward. And the point is that after, black can also give a check here and try the frontal defense checks method. But first of all, the point is that if we exchange rooks now, white will reach the a6 square, or sorry, in this position, reach the b6 square, and if black tries to prevent this, take the opposition and then win. So the whole point is that if black plays king e7 in this position, the white king has one more tempo to move forward. And that makes all the difference as compared to moving the rook and now the king moving forward, because here we have the frontal defense. And if king e7 and the king comes, and now we would give the frontal defense strategy, the problem is that the king, who was attempting to exchange the rook here, is too far away from moving to a defensive position here. And we will see how white can exploit this. We already had this in a variation before. Black tries to give the checks, and now after king a6, the rook has to drop back to c8, as we have said, and now we had already seen the trick that white now protects the pawn, and the problem is now that the king, when it was on e6, was ready to attack the rook, and this defensive resource is not available anymore because the king is now on e7. So if the king comes close, now white can attack the rook with rook b7. This is possible because the pawn is protected by the white rook, and now the rook has lost its distant effectiveness. Only chance would be rook c5, but after king b6, rook c8, the pawn moves forward, the white king is still blocked, and because the pawn is advanced and the black king is only is not in front of the pawn, the only defense that black would have is to give side checks with the rook, but because the king is on the short side, this is also not possible, so the position is winning for white. So that's why the king cannot move to e7. And what if the king moves to e5? Maybe with the idea of, after c5, blocking the king on the fourth rank. This doesn't work because now white has the resource rook d8, and the black king again is too far away. If the black king was here, the black king could now move down to challenge the rook, but in this position here, if black simply moves the rook back and forth to block the king, now the pawn can advance, and white was not advancing the pawn immediately because then black would have the resource of giving a check here, attacking the king and the pawn. So that's why white was first moving the king to b3. Now the pawn simply moves forward, the pawn is blocking the king, And for example, if the rook tries to stop the pawn now, it's simply impossible because it will just advance. And if rook h7, the king moves up and the rook is not blocking the king anymore. So as a result, the king is just right where it is here. If it moves up, it allows the rook to penetrate here, or in general, if it moves up in conjunction with the rook attempting to block the king like this, it loses. And if it moves down now, it allows the king to gain one more tempo, so that after the exchange of rooks, black is too late to stop the king marching forward. Or alternatively, if the frontal defense is attempted, the king is too far away to attack the rook, who comes to the protection of the c-pawn. So, very important position. What can we learn again from this ending? First, if the pawn has not yet crossed the midline of the board, it's much easier to draw, because the defending rook and king have more time to come close. The defending rook in this defense has to stay on the back rank, so it's able to give frontal checks and make use of the distant effectiveness. And the most natural place is c8, where it stops the advance of the pawn. Third, the black king's ideal position is here, trying to approach the pawn as much as it can, and ready to move down and prepare an exchange of rooks, and also ready to move up to attack a rook which comes to the protection of the pawn. And with these ideal positions reached, black can draw by blocking the advance of the pawn, and if the king tries to move forward, use the technique of frontal checks. And do that until the king moves to a6, and if then, and don't forget, if the king moves to a5, don't fall in the trap of rook a8, but be sure to attack the pawn again. And if the rook protects the pawn, or in the variation rather with a6, if the rook protects the pawn, then the defensive strategy is to bring the king close. And if the rook goes in between here, we get ready to take the Philidor defense, so whenever the rook gives up the blocking of the black king. Okay, I hope you find this analysis of this endgame helpful for your practical games. If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel so YouTube sends you an update whenever new videos become available. Thanks a lot for watching.